Welcome to the ArmChair Fantasy Football Podcast. Here are your hosts, DJ Marcotte and John Soroyce. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the ArmChair Fantasy Football Podcast, the working class podcast. We are the blue collar ballers. I'm DJ. I'm here with my friend John Soroyce.
What's up?
And I'm also here with a special guest of ours. Everybody seems to be nervous about this guest and that he might be a bit of a loose cannon, but
Can't see why.
He has promised me that he will be under control today. Noah is our latest fill-in guest. So Noah, welcome to the show.
What's up? How's everyone doing?
Excellent. So I just in case you guys were searching for us on social media, I'll say it again like I always do. We are at Armchair Fantasy Football on Facebook, at Armchair FF Pod on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Armchair Kingpin. John is on Twitter at John2977. Noah, you got a Twitter handle?
Yeah, it's at Noah Rollins.
Noah Rollins.
Yeah,
okay.
It's my name backwards.
That's really creative.
Not really. I just got that creative gene in me, dude.
ABC 1, 2, 3.
You can email us. You can email us questions at armchairfb@gmail.com. We got a couple of questions today, listener questions. You can find us. I don't know what that was. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Podbean. You can find our videos on YouTube. Just search Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast. You guys will be fine. Take it easy over there. I just want to kick it back to our GoFundMe page as well. I just want to take a moment to mention it. You can find it at www.gofundme.com/armchair-fantasy-football-podcast. If you guys would support us by making a donation, we would greatly appreciate it. I know my money's tight. I got kids. John's got kids. We get it, but just $5, the price of your morning coffee would help us get to our goal, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And we just greatly appreciate your general listenership, if that is a word. And we would also appreciate you sharing that. If you guys don't have the funds to help us out, if you could just share that link, we would appreciate that as well. We'll be putting that up on Facebook and Twitter soon again as well. So, Antonio Brown.
The saga continues. I'm getting sick of talking about this guy, but Antonio Brown has been accused of rape.
It has, yes, that has happened. I'm going to step up on my soapbox. It isn't really a soapbox. I want to go back to the whole Tyreek Hill situation that happened earlier this year. And what I said there was, let's all just calm down. And I think, I'm seeing on social media that people are, crucifying this guy before we know all of the information. I see Patriot fans are saying this is complete bullcrap just because they're Patriot fans and they have Patriot bed sheets and stuff like that. And I'm somewhere in the middle saying, well, let's just pause. And I said that with Tyreek Hill as well. There's two sides of this for me. Number one, we don't want to rush to judgment. And I know that's what we do in America in 2019. But we really shouldn't do that. That is irresponsible to assume, number one, he did this, or number two, she's lying. And everybody seems to be on one side or the other of that. And I just don't think you could do that right now. I will say the Patriots knew what they were getting into with this guy, number one. And number two, his erratic, and what did I say, John? His erratic behavior is a red flag, and it's indicative of somebody that could potentially do something dangerous. And I don't know whether or not that did happen, but his behavior is not helping his cause.
No.
So, Noah, as a Patriots fan, I'm interested to see where you stand on this.
You know what's funny? When the news broke last night and I knew I was doing the show, I knew I was like, all right, I need to figure out what I'm going to say because, your first reaction, like if a player on your team gets charged or something like this, you're like, no, it's not true. They're fine.
Right.
But, I think we owe it to the victim and, the accused, they're innocent until proven guilty. And I think Antonio Brown's agent said it best. I think he went on SportsCenter and was like, when we, we're not talking about the helmet situation. We're not talking about the Raider situation. We're talking about a completely different situation. So people are jumping the gun because of all that's happened the past month on this guy. And, I think everyone needs to give him time, give the situation time to really figure out what's going on.
But I think also there's where there's smoke, there's fire mentality too, and I get that side of where people are coming from as well. You know, there's emails out there, and then there's text from this random girl, I don't know who, you know, that says somebody's out to get him, and then there's also lie detector tests from the accuser. You know, there's so much going on to unpack.
It's such a mess, and I mean, there's really no facts out there yet. And I think people are getting hung up on that, you know.
I think there's one fact, John, and I think that fact is that and again, I'm going to go back to what I said on the last show. Ever since that Vontaze Burfict hit,
he's never been
this
the
has
same.
been a different guy. And the facts are that Antonio Brown always seems to be surrounded by drama, and I would think that the Patriots knew that was baked in. You know, you look at Belichick, he's got a responsibility as the leader of that team to discuss this, and he hid from it at the press conference, which I get that as well.
I don't think he hid from it.
He definitely hid from it.
Here's the thing, though. Like, what's come out, like, listen, you see all these emails and you see, you know, the text messages on Facebook. Nothing has been confirmed by anybody. So I think what
and that's why
you know,
I agree to a certain extent with him doing that. I just think to storm off the podium is a little childish, but I hope that Bill and Bob are getting this guy the help that he obviously desperately needs. That's the bottom line here. It goes, at this point, it's beyond fantasy football. This guy is disturbed. And it's great that he gets us points on game day and helps us win our week, but at the end of the day, we have to draw the line between whether a player is livestock or is a human, and hopefully he's getting the help that he needs. Whether or not this is true, he's still obviously got issues.
Yeah, he definitely's got issues, and I think, like, no one disagrees that on the field you can play his prime years, you could put it against the best, like, you know, but off the field, man, like, he's just troubled. There's something up with him, and I hope he figures it out, because as an NFL football fan, as someone who loves football, it's fun to watch him out there on Sundays, and it sucks to see that, like, he's going through this, and, you know, it's keeping him off the football field.
If he did do this, he needs, you know, this is almost an Aaron Hernandez level thing in terms of there's murder, and then right underneath it is rape. So hopefully it's not the case. John, what's your take on this whole thing?
There's just confusing facts in this, and that's what the thing is. There is no solidified facts other than we know that the one filing the charges, it's federal charges, not criminal charges, which is kind of odd. On top of that, I totally agree with you guys.
Well, it's not a criminal. I think it's a civil lawsuit. It's not a criminal.
Yeah, which you think it would be criminal charges as well, which it's not. That's kind of odd. I just think until, you know, there's substantial evidence.
Those may come. Who knows?
Yeah. There's nothing factual yet other than what we have bits and pieces of. And
I'm sure we don't even have a fraction of what it really is out
I mean,
there.
they're going to open an investigation in this. The only thing I'm wondering is how the Patriots are going to stand on this. Are they going to suspend him temporarily?
Well, there's also been news that the league is considering putting him on the exempt list.
Which automatically makes him not eligible to play.
I think this puts Belichick in a tough spot, too, because if you're Belichick, you don't know what to do, because something can come out tomorrow to where, you know, a new piece of evidence and Brown's gone, but, like, you know, do you play him versus Miami if you're Belichick?
He will.
I know he will. I just, like, is he jumping the gun? Is he?
I mean, the biggest concern.
You're in terms of, like, what's good taste and what's not.
I mean, he has literally made our show for news every episode, I think, for the past 2 weeks.
I agree, John. We're going through Antonio Brown exhaustion. But this is, like I said, this is bigger than fantasy football.
It is. And now it's getting worrisome because you think there's progress and then another thing. So it could be small.
I mean, look at, was it Darren Sharper? I want to make sure I'm saying the right football player here that played for the Saints.
Yep, the corner there.
Yeah.
The safety.
And was a serial rapist.
Yep.
So, I mean, because we talked to Jake and I said, Jake, this is like, these are the warning signs you see from guys that, you know, do really bad things. He's like, that's ridiculous. That would never happen. Well, that's not impossible. Especially guys. Look at who's that movie producer there, Harvey Weinstein.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You know, when you feel invincible, you sometimes do things because you feel like you're invincible. Hopefully that's not the case. I think what we need to do is wait and see.
Yeah, it's a wait and see approach. So, I mean, till then, till I hear anything, I'm not making my judgment on anything. I just think if the Patriots are going to play it safe and probably, or the NFL are probably just going to put them on the exempt list. And I think it's just a step-by-step process till more gets solidified. So, wait and see.
The NFL's doing what we're doing and what you should be doing
Yep.
as a listener. It's just wait and see. Let's not, as my father used to say, let's not take the gas pipe quite yet.
Yeah.
So, next bit of news, Tyreek Hill will be sidelined 4 to 6 weeks with his shoulder injury.
It's karma, Kramer. I mean, there's a lot going on in terms of karma in the NFL, man. Again, though, like Noah said about Brown, very exciting guy to watch. So I feel bad for you if you got Tyreek Hill on your team.
But listen, if you're a Tyreek Hill dude out there, you got him on your team, and you can get your hands on Mecole Hardman.
Absolutely.
Do it because
He's the top. Demarcus Robinson actually didn't look too bad, but snap-wise, I believe Hardman played 53 of 59 snaps.
Yeah, he played 94% of the snaps in
Yep.
the second half when Hill went out.
And,
So-
and he's got the talent. He really does.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
Watkins.
amazing.
If you own Watkins or if somehow he's on the wire because you're in a 10-team league or something like that, his value is through the roof right now. Through the roof.
Yeah.
So, a few weeks, maybe up to 5 weeks, right, without Hill.
4 to 6 weeks. I'm
6,
guessing.
okay.
I would say if they're going to play it safe, it'll be closer to 6. Depends how he progresses in his rehab and all that.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be worried if you had Pat Mahomes, because let's be honest, Pat Mahomes is gonna do what Pat
Mahomes
does.
has the undeniable Kavorka.
Like,
You could put anybody out there with him.
he's honestly matchup proof, like I said yesterday. He is
really
matchup
is.
proof now.
Yeah, I mean,
You
remember Perfect Strangers, Belky Bartakamoose? You could
Oh
put
my.
him out there as a receiver.
I catch
and,
ball. I catch ball.
David Kucher will appreciate that reference, I know.
yeah, that guy's just a one
He's
in a
a-
generation type talent, man. Like, he's gonna.
If this year is like last year, he's on pace to be the greatest of all time. And I don't think that's an overstatement. So what else we got, John?
Next bit of news: Quincy
Enunwa?
will miss the remainder of the season with a neck injury, possibly career-ending. This is what led to the Demaryius Thomas signing, or trading, I should say. So yeah, it does not look good. This could probably be it.
Not a fantasy impact, but Enunwa's another one of those guys that just can't stay healthy. But he's a good player that brings his lunch pail to work every day. You know, he, unlike the Browns and the Hills, he just goes to work and does his job. So it's just sad to hear.
Yeah, Inua is really good receiver, but I don't know. I like that Demaryius Thomas trade. I thought that was a real good heads-up trade by them.
Well, like I said, we got, as a Pat's Patriots organization, you cut the guy, you sign
get
him
a
again,
6th-round
and then
pick
you
for
get a
it.
6th-round pick for him
Yeah.
instead of just cutting him again. So.
And let's not
And to be
for-
honest with you, a 6th-round pick is nothing, honestly, for New York. So I think they benefit from it as well. If Demaryius can come back to form, even 75% of
Yeah.
what he was, that's a great ad
And
for
let's
them.
not forget, like, Robbie Anderson's on that field. You got the tight end, Chris Herndon, who's
He'll be
suspended
back
till
in week 5, yep.
So, I mean, the Jets, listen, like, I know
And let's not
last
forget
week,
Jamison Crowder, man. He
No.
balled out.
like, last week versus the Bills got a tough defense, man. I mean, it's week 1. Week 1 was weird, so
Yeah,
but
it was
this
crazy.
Jets offense, man, could be really good.
It could be, but bad. It's sad to hear about Enunwa. He's a good dude.
There's some good news. AJ Green has come out of his walking boot and is already running on a treadmill. He's actually showing good progress. Actually, at the rate he's going, they think he may trim off a week, possibly two.
And the news tomorrow is
AJ
AJ Green
Green
fell on the treadmill and broke his clavicle.
Another collarbone injury.
Yes. AJ Green was walking an old lady across the street and got hit by a car. AJ Green got hit by a falling helicopter. I mean,
This guy-
okay.
I feel like this guy always has something like turf toe, a nagging knee injury.
I never really
something,
put
man.
guys on my ban list anymore, but he's inching closer to it. I didn't even draft him this year. I didn't have any shares in him this year.
Okay, next bit of news. Sterling Shepard is still in the concussion protocol and did not practice Wednesday.
Golden Tate. Go get him. If he's on your waiver wire, go get Golden Tate, because I'm telling you, when he comes back from that suspension, he is going to be the guy to own on that team.
And if you need a bye week fill in,
From a receiving standpoint.
and if you need a bye week fill in this week for Shepard, Cody Latimer would be the.
You're pumping up the tires for Latimer. We'll see how it goes because, like Noah said, they're not going against some chump defense.
I'm not saying that, but Latimer is not horrible either. He did play with the Broncos and actually did decent there. He's not an awful.
Yeah, he never really lived up to his draft hype, but I'll let you go with that one.
Yep. Still not living up to their hype is Jordan Reed. He's still not cleared.
Jordan. God, poor guy.
Jordan Reed. Do you think Jordan Reed and AJ Green are laying next to each other in hospital beds, like lamenting over the fact they're always hurt?
I bet they're like, dude, like, I'm sorry.
They're probably like toasting each other. Oh, we get to take another week off. Maybe it's just some big conspiracy that they just don't want to play.
Their coaches probably like write him off before the season even goes.
Jordan Reed, another guy inching closer to the. Like, I feel like this was the last year that people were going to give a chance to him. Do we have the biggest news next, John?
No, we got a couple more.
All right.
Next news, Darius Gucci, you would call him, or Darius Guys. There's still no starter named yet.
Actually, I think I read AP is.
Did they just announce it?
The starter, yes, but I mean, Geis isn't going to play, as far as I know. Let me look here, guys. Hold, please. Yeah, no update on Geis. Peterson is named the starter.
Oh, okay. That changed real quick then.
Yeah.
Next bit of news. The injuries keep pouring on my team. Hunter Henry, fractured tibia, likely to miss 4 to 6 weeks.
Another guy that's somehow injured. I can't believe it. Hunter Henry is hurt. 4 to 6 weeks is not good, though, man.
Nope.
I got 3 good tight ends in the keeper league. If you're interested, John, won't cost you that much.
I guess.
No, just like all my picks.
Man,
We'll talk after.
Me and Andrew are hurting that tight end.
Oh yeah, that's right.
tag
You guys
league,
lost
man.
the Hunter Henry
Like-
sweepstakes as well.
This guy might turn into the next Jordan Reed at this point.
This is the same
man.
old news
Like,
on him.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay, the best news for last.
Is this it?
This is it.
All right.
So get it ready.
I'm ready. What's the news, John?
Sheriff Driscoll
Oh no! What's
was waived by the Bengals today.
You better not cut Sheriff Driscoll.
I reckon someone else is gonna sign him.
I hope everyone.
Andrew, are you upset by this? No, Andrew is vigorously shaking his head no that Sheriff Driscoll.
I'm
has
just
been
upset
cut.
because we can't use the Sheriff Driscoll.
Oh, we can use it. We'll find ways. We'll find ways. I know everybody loves when we do the Sheriff Driscoll voice, so we'll bring it back at some point.
I just can't believe you spent 5 minutes looking up that theme
Maybe,
song.
maybe if somebody gets cut or somebody gets hurt, we can talk about how Sheriff Driscoll's on the waiver wire. We'll find ways, John.
Oh, we'll find ways.
Jacksonville Jags, you got your future
There
quarterback.
you go, Sheriff
Nick Foles
Driscoll.
out.
What did you call me last night? Gunter?
Gunter Minshew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Gardner, but I like Gunter better. It sounds cool.
I was
so
calling
we're
him
going with
Cashew. We ready to go to the next part? That's it for
that.
news.
That's it. That's all.
it.
Can no longer make the call. All right, start it up, John.
Okay, first game we're going to go into and break down is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. This game has an over-under of 48.5.
Okay.
Listen, like, I know Carolina faced the Rams last week, and the Rams are a really good team. They gave up 160 rushing yards to Gurley, Malcolm Brown. Listen, like, I'm not saying, like, start him right away because this dude, I don't have much faith in him, but Ronald Jones could have a sneaky day if you need a running back off the waiver wire. Yeah, I don't know, but like it could be Carolina just played the Rams, and the Rams just did what they do, you know. But
So, what do you think about this game, John?
I think this is going to be a shootout. Reason I say that, this is a divisional game. Divisional games always tend to be closer, but I think both defenses are not stellar. I think it's just going to be back and forth. The question is going to be is Winston going to be the quarterback we saw last week, or will he be a new quarterback this week? I'm predicting he will possibly make a few turnovers, but I think this game will be closer than we think. And I think it, like I said, I think it's going to be a shootout. I honestly see the over in this.
You're starting up Christian McCaffrey.
Yep. You're starting up Cam Newton.
You're starting up Cam Newton, I think, definitely in this
Winston,
one.
I would hold off.
How many
Winston-
chances do we give Winston? Like,
Well, if he's if he's on your squad, he's probably your starting quarterback. I think we need to remember that sometimes week one is bizarre. We have a new head coach,
but
a new scheme. These guys are still getting used to, the new offense. So I think before we get too crazy and jump the gun, we need to probably pump the brakes a little bit. It is a Thursday night game. It's a short week. I probably, if I had other options, would sit Jameis and wait and see on him. That's what I would do.
yeah.
What do you think of Godwin?
I think Godwin is, again, probably your I almost want to say he's your best option right now.
Out of the team, yeah.
O.J. Howard is he might even be the best talent-wise, the best player on that offense. But 3 to 5 targets seems like it's all you're ever going to see for him.
And until Cameron Brate gets traded
and
or goes down.
And then Brate, drops 2 touchdown passes. So, that's just very, very discouraging. I'm not saying Brate's a bad player, but I think O.J. Howard helps you win games better than Cameron Brate does. And I don't know. Again, it's week one. They're getting used to the new offense. I would probably pump the brakes on. Is Evans good to go this week? Is he?
As far as I know, he's practicing. He had the questionable tag on him, but as far as I know, I think he's going to be ready.
You have to start Evans. I think you have to start Godwin. I would fade everybody else. And Dare actually had a pretty good snap count, the boogeyman, that is. So I think maybe you could start the boogeyman, but
it depends what type of game it is. If it's a blowout, he'll be used even more. If the Carolinas blow him out, they're going to pass a ton more.
Oh boy.
But
He's the boogeyman.
Ready?
Yeah.
You got to dance, Andrew. All right, Andrew's dancing on it. So anyway,
give a nice head wag.
I'm gonna let this roll because I want to hear the chorus. But the boogeyman, I think, is still the best option on that team because if you look at his snap count, if you look at it, he was the most targeted running back. Here we go, guys. Come on, Noah.
I don't know this song, dude. This is 20 years before my time, dude.
So no, I wouldn't start the boogeyman this week. I would definitely be a little cautious about most of the Bucs. The 2 receivers you're starting, Evans and Godwin. And honestly, if you have Howard, you're probably starting him as well. And as far as Carolina's going, I think DJ Moore is a great start this week. Mm-hmm. I've got him in my Dynasty League, and I can assure you he will be in my lineup. Obviously, you're starting Cam, I think. You're starting. I think you can see Cam come back to, and McCaffrey. Olsen could be a good streamer.
I don't know. I just wouldn't put all your eggs into one basket this first game because, dude, Thursday nights are so it's like if
I started Trubisky last week and I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this because it's a Thursday night game and look what happened.
Yeah, so you got to be cautious when you start people on Thursday night because I don't know what happens, but everyone just sucks on Thursday night, man.
I think you can say that.
I think they stink.
Okay. What else, John? We're going to move on to the...
We're going to move on to San Fran, and the Cincinnati Bengals play Sunday. So we'll go into that game. The over-under on this is 45, and the San Francisco 49ers are the favorites.
Yeah, Tevin Coleman's out.
Yep.
So I think you can safely start Matt Breida. I think you'll see him come around this week. Mm-hmm. Probably a good flex option.
I like Tyler Boyd.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what happens this week with John Ross. They said that even with AJ back, he's going to see a similar snap count. His production might go down, obviously, but they seem committed to him, John Ross. Are you guys excited about him at all?
He honestly blew me away week one. I did not expect that out of John Ross. Maybe I was wrong about him. He looked really good.
Yeah.
12 targets, I believe he had. He crushed it.
He had a game.
He had 12 targets, 7 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. The guy just balled out.
I thought, with AJ Green being gone last week, I thought it was going to be the Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon show, but...
Yeah.
Man.
Well, the other thing, too, on this game, guys, is San Francisco's defense looked not good. I think you could probably spot start Andy Dalton here if you're streaming quarterbacks. What did you guys take on Jimmy Garoppolo, though?
Well, one thing about San Fran D, they had 3 picks last week.
Yeah.
I know we were just talking about Winston, but yeah, no. Andy Dalton could be a good sneak play. The only problem is like
it's in Cincy, too.
Yeah, but when Andy Dalton stinks, he really stinks. So if you're...
Well, it's funny, Andrew and I were talking about that, and I said, boy, I might go start... I'm going to start Josh Allen this week. He's got a great matchup, but I'm like, man, I could go spot start Andy Dalton. I'm like, but then again, he could completely melt down, and I'll be screaming at him all day on at the television.
I'll never be comfortable with starting Andy Dalton just because he is Andy Dalton. He is terrible. And I don't know how he still has a starting quarterback job.
But he threw for 418 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I think the difference
Come
in
on. This week he'll throw 3 picks.
No,
that's the thing. He's a spot starter, right,
There-
John? You don't start him every week.
Yeah, you don't start him every week. Here's why I think Dalton will have a good week based on this. Once the injury report comes out, which we know more, if Bosa doesn't play, if Jimmy Ward doesn't play, and Nachoka, whatever his name is, their
I'll
linebacker.
take your word on that one.
Mark Nazoka is their linebacker. If they have these 3 possible injuries of these guys out, it's really going to hurt that defense even more, and it will make Dalton a start. But the question is, if Bosa is playing and Jimmy Ward is playing, this defense gets a lot better. They are not great on the run, and they're actually decent against the pass. So I think Dalton, based on injuries, would be startable. Garoppolo, no. I'm still saying no. He does not look comfortable in this offense right now. A lot of question marks behind him. I'm not saying it's all him. I'm just saying there's a lot of question marks. And the Cincinnati secondary actually looks halfway decent. Mm-hmm. They're not bad.
What about Raheem Mostert this week?
I think he'll be involved. I think the timeshare, as long as Breida stays healthy, is going to be 65-35 there. Yeah, but he does have sneaky value this week, especially with Breida's history with injuries.
The over/under on this one's 45, not crazy. Cincy by 2 is the line. So
I'd take the under on that all day.
I'm not. See, I'm on San Fran's side. The people I want to start would be Breida, Mostert. I'm staying away from Pettis. Kittle's a must start. That's a no-brainer.
Kittle's a gimme. Yeah.
Garoppolo, no. I'm actually.
What about Pettis, man? Did he even see the field last week?
One target.
I think this is the last chance for Pettis, real quick.
Well,
if Pettis doesn't do anything, you drop him.
Deebo Samuel.
So bizarre though. Like
Deebo Samuel. I think had the second or third highest targets on the team, and I think only had like 5 or 6. So
they just had a bad game.
Yeah,
bad game script.
I mean, yeah. I would focus on the San Fran running backs here. Receivers, play with caution. Play with a lot of caution.
For Cincy, I think you fire up Boyd. I mean, I think you have to fire up Ross, given the upside that it looks like he has.
Yep.
You don't sit someone after they have a week like that.
In Gio, if Mixon's out, you're starting him.
I think either running back here is going to do very well here.
I think whoever it is, a must start.
You know what's funny about Giovanni Bernard?
What's funny?
Every time Joe Mixon hasn't played and Bernard has started, he averages 22 fantasy points.
He gets a full workload.
Yeah. Mixon's out. He gets the full workload for the whole game. Just goes off every time, man.
If you have Mixon, I hope you handcuffed him. You don't handcuff everybody, but you handcuff guy. Like when you got a guy like that.
Like we said last night, Giovanni Bernard is actually
he's a must start.
He's a must start.
Let's move on to the next one. All right, let's move on to the Chargers and Lions. John, are you excited for Austin Eckler this week? I'll start it with him.
Eckler, I am going to say yes.
Yeah. He outsnapped Justin Jackson 48-16. So that's obviously he's getting a much bigger piece of the pie. I would definitely start him because he's going to get receptions as well. I think Justin Jackson could see an increase in snap count just because he was so efficient this past week. He actually looked really good. They both did. Jackson was actually more efficient than Eckler. But, yeah, I think Eckler is a must start here. I just think he's going to get the passing game work. He's going to get work on the ground. There's going to be plenty of opportunity for Eckler this week. Noah, what do you think about Eckler?
I like Eckler. I thought last week David Johnson really tore up the Lions in the passing game.
Yeah.
But no, I like him this week because I think man, the Lions always have trouble covering the backs out of the backfield. You know, they don't have those fast linebackers that could do it.
And the touchdown for Johnson was through the air, too.
Literally over a safety.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, this team can't cover running backs. I expect Eckler to at least get, like, I'd say 20, 25.
Eckler's a must start.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, he had 8 catches for 123 yards last week and a touchdown. Now we're looking at a banged-up Mike Williams, who I don't know if he'll play or not.
Henry's gone.
Henry's gone.
I think Keenan Allen is going to eat this
Keenan
week.
Allen could get 30-plus in PPR
Yep,
this
high
week.
volume.
Oh, yeah.
I really think that. Especially if Williams is out, and we know Henry is out as well. So.
Whoa, let's be careful, because Keenan Allen is also being covered by Darius Slay. So Darius Slay ain't no bum either. So
Yeah, but I think there's something to be said for volume. And that's what I look for in matchups. And if I'm making a decision, I think you're starting Keenan Allen regardless, since it's week 2. But
I just don't think he'll get you that like 25, 30. I think he'll max out around like 15, 20.
Slay's a tough matchup to draw, but I just think he'll get peppered with targets. John, what do you think about Allen?
I think Allen will see the targets. Question is, how many of those is going to catch in it if he gets open? I think he's still got a good chance. I'm not saying he's matchup proof, but when you got this, your second best receiver out, possibly, you have your tight end out, they're going to force feed him and Eckler. So it's going to be one or the other.
Just looking here, Keenan Allen looks like he's going to draw a lot of Justin Coleman because he's going to be playing out of the slot.
Oh, okay.
And Coleman has the lowest PFF grade out of any Lions cornerback.
So he should eat.
So it's wheels up for
yeah,
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen is going to go crazy. I didn't know that, so.
Well, that's why you got to hang out with the armchair experts a
Yeah,
little
I guess
bit more.
so, man. I just thought.
So you guys starting Phil Rivers?
Oof. Yeah, I'd start Phillip.
You have him, John.
Yeah, he got 35 fantasy
on your
points.
bench.
Yep.
Yeah.
He got
Who did you start? Oh, the guy that you said is going to be great this year,
Kirk Cousins. It's one game.
Yeah, well, he threw the ball 10 times.
Yeah,
so.
it hurt you and it hurt me. So
Hopefully he doesn't continue to do that.
you should be supporting Kirk Cousins because it benefits you too.
I don't know, man. That was ugly. We'll talk about that, though, a little bit later. But if we go to the Detroit side of the ball.
Kerryon Johnson, please.
I hope Kerryon comes back to form in this one, or at least
This is one of his best chances.
don't you cry no more, Kerryon.
Chargers got
this is your
torched
opportunity.
last week by Marlon Mack.
They
Yep.
did.
So there's his chance to prove it. If he doesn't prove it here,
Then I'm going to cry. I might just
But the Chargers do have a pretty decent secondary. So are we going to be singing Galladay? Or are we going to be crying in our beer again because Kenny Galladay underperformed? Do you start him, John?
I'm scared of Galladay this week.
Okay, yeah, I don't blame you. I can see why you would be since he didn't have a bad game last week.
No, but I think
I just saw too much of Danny Amendola, which I don't think is a weekly thing. I think that's game script dependent.
it could be. I mean, he did have a high volume of targets.
A lot of T.J. Hawkinson.
That was surprising.
I think Stafford saw where the weaknesses were last week, and it was in the coverage of Amendola and Hawkinson, and he just kept going there.
Yeah.
Then it could be the same this week, though.
They were trying to run the ball, but, like, Arizona's D ain't no pushover. I mean, they got some ballers on that defense, so I could...
Their D's not very good.
They're one of the worst run D's, but
Kenny Galladay should have scorched that team without Patrick Peterson there, and it just didn't happen.
I thought Kerryon was going to torch that team.
I agree.
He should have.
I agree.
That's just...
And again, it's a bad head coach, and we talked about it yesterday with Doug Moron down there in Jacksonville.
You think Matt Patricia's a bad
I think
head coach?
Matt Patricia's a terrible head coach. I don't think he knows what he's doing out there. And Bill Belichick's the type of guy I'll teach you everything you know, but I'm not going to teach you everything I know. And these guys are never prepared when they actually get a head coaching gig. And
I just think
guys like Patricia just abandon the game plan like the face of any adversity.
Yeah, I think that they get so used to just killing everyone in New England, then they get like a head coaching job somewhere else.
He's not killing anyone in Detroit other than himself.
I think Detroit's just the most average team in the NFL.
But they don't have to be. I think they have the talent. It kind of reminds me of Dallas a little bit, and Kellen Moore is maybe helping us out a little bit this year over there. But it reminds me of Dallas in terms of all the talent in the world, but the head coach is only going to get you so far.
I agree.
But anyway, I think he's got a chance to bounce back this week. Kerryon Johnson. Hopefully, they find ways to get him the ball a little bit more efficiently. I don't know. I'm starting Kerryon. I'm probably starting Kenny Golladay in the flex because I don't think you're going to find better options out there. TJ Hawkinson, though, is that a guy that you guys are starting with, confidence?
I still think this team's a run-first team with Kerryon. I think Hawkinson had a really good first week, but I don't think it'll sustain throughout the season.
Yep.
I think he'll have a couple games where you're like, wow, this Hawkinson kid's good, but...
I agree with you. I think he could be an O.J. Howard type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just you don't know that you're going to get it every week, John. But I think you could have week-winning games like this past week, 6 for 131 and a touchdown.
From what I saw, and he actually had more yardage than I thought. I think he's going to have a safe floor. I think he's an okay start. I actually do. I think he'll get you at least 10 points.
Yeah,
I think you got to start. If you have him, you got to start him after what he did last week. But don't expect like last week,
Just to put a bow on Kerryon, I don't think you're ever going to see C.J. Anderson almost match him in carries again. And Marlon Mack destroyed this defense last week for 174 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I think if they give Kerryon the workload like the 25 carries that Mack got last week, you're going to see a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready to move on to the Vikes and Packers?
Let's do it.
Hopefully this is a better game than Green Bay's game last week where Geronimo Allison goosed you. MVS was okay, and Devontae Adams, it was a huge disappointment, John. Are you worried about this team and Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think so. I think they're going to get better. Their defense is going to help carry them, I think. But offensively, I can see why you're a little concerned.
They played the Bears, so, that's a pretty good defense.
Yeah.
Best defense in the league last year.
Yeah, and they actually did decent. They didn't do, Devontae Adams was playing the number one defense. Yep. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to temper expectations.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He will be fine. Start him with confidence. Just quick on the Minnesota side of the ball. After getting burned last week, John, with just 10 pass attempts in a game where they scored 28 points.
To be fair,
where they scored 28 points, are you starting Kirk Cousins this week? Are you starting Phillip Rivers or Kirk Cousins? That's a real-life scenario for you.
I am leaning towards Rivers, but at the same time, you got to remember, Vikings last year, not based on one game, Vikings last year were one of the top passing Ds. And that's, but I don't know. This one's a tough decision. I got to lean into this. I'm not going to say yes or no yet what I'm doing. It's going to be last minute. I got to get more research out of these games.
But if you were a gun to your head now, it would be Phil Rivers.
It'd be Phil Rivers now.
And I don't really blame you. If you look at Green Bay, though, it was a low-scoring game last week, but they did allow the number one receiver, Allen Robinson, to feast. So I think that could be – you could see a big game from Diggs or Thielen, but they got to throw the ball more than 10 times.
Yeah, that's the concerning part. The other concerning part is it's a divisional game, but I also remember I don't think Green Bay has beaten Vikings the last 5 times or something like that. I read the last 5 matchups. That's another concerning part.
This one's in Green Bay.
Green Bay.
I don't think it matters a ton.
Yeah, Green Bay has 5 new defensive starters. So that scared me, especially after what I saw.
They looked good last week.
They had 5 sacks. They had just as many sacks as the Bears. So
that defense is going to be put to the test this week. Like, this is going to be like listen, are you a legit defense, or are you like pretend you played Trubinsky for 1 week and you helped,
Dalvin Cook, I think you're definitely starting him. Rushed last week 21 times for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Packers were okay against the run against Chicago, but I think you're safe to start Cook. But I think Cook is going to face more adversity this week, where that would lead, I think, to Thielen and Diggs coming back to form a little bit more this week. Maybe not all the way, but...
I mean, look at Chicago's rushing last week. They really couldn't do that much.
Yeah, and Tariq Cohen did well, but it was more through the air.
Yeah, he had a couple receptions.
So maybe the passing backs have more value in this game.
Yeah.
So Dalvin Cook could.
Aaron Jones, though.
I mean, Montgomery.
I don't see Aaron Jones. I think it would be Williams first before.
I just don't ever want to own a Green Bay running back. I just never do, man. It never works out.
LeFleur.
1 year, LeFleur.
LeFleur.
I don't trust that offense, man. I don't trust anyone but Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
How can you trust Rodgers anymore, though?
Well,
Like, he hasn't been relevant in 3 years.
That's what I'm saying, but, like, it's Aaron Rodgers, man. I gotta give him the respect.
Everybody keeps telling me that.
Maybe it's the fact. Maybe we need to start treating him like a Tom Brady, to where we know he's great, but fantasy wise, like there's dudes that will put you up 30 to 40 points a week.
Yeah,
no doubt now.
I think and I think if like you look at Brady, I think at the end of the season his numbers never really they fall off quite a bit. Rodgers is just I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with him, but I'm going after him. I kicked the tires with one of our league mates to get a trade for him because they have Lamar Jackson and are in love with Lamar Jackson. But I wouldn't even give up much, man. Maybe a second round pick next year is what I'm willing to give for Aaron Rodgers because I don't trust him.
And who knows, like you guys said, they played Chicago week 1. So how can you really know like how good this offense is? Because Chicago's defense, man. That defense is scary.
No, but you got to remember the Vikings aren't like subpar either.
No.
They're near the top, to be honest with you.
Here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers owning him. Like, it sucks because 4 weeks out of the year, you're playing the Minnesota Vikings twice and you're playing the Bears twice. Those are 4 games you're playing like really good defense.
Yeah.
Like, Vikings defense ain't as good as Chicago's, but like still, like.
But if you look at like the only thing that concerns me with Devontae Adams, what do you think it is, John?
The amount of targets?
Xavier Rhodes. That's
Yeah.
what it is. And then I expect a big game from MVS this week because Trey Waynes got smoked by Calvin Ridley last week. I actually think you could see a really big week from MVS. I would start him in the flex this week. I like him a lot this week.
Maybe I'll do that in Dynasty then.
I think Adams is fine, but you want to lower your ceiling for him. I mean, Julio had 6 for 31 and a touchdown last week against Rhodes. So if he didn't have that touchdown, it would be a garbage game.
Really, honestly. And he had a 2-point conversion at the end.
Right,
So
yep.
it's like, really, how can you judge that game?
Are you guys starting Aaron Jones? I know we touched on that, but
No. I think Minnesota's defense, like run defense at least, is pretty good.
I mean, you might have to start him based on probably where you drafted him, but no, I don't. I don't really love the run game in Green Bay, and Jake has said it before too. I don't love anybody in Green Bay outside of Devontae Adams, but I'm starting to warm up to MVS. I like him.
The problem with MVS and Allison is you don't know who's the certified number 2 there because
I think it's
week they take
MVS.
turns.
I think he proved it last week.
I think now it is. I think with the Packers you got to wait and see how the season unfolds once they start playing like lesser, higher ranked defenses.
Yep, definitely. And week 1's foolish most of the time every year anyway. So Indianapolis and Tennessee.
I don't even know what they expect out of Tennessee after what I saw last week.
Don't start. I mean, you could start Ty, maybe. I think you got to because he had a really good week last week. And Odell didn't have a bad game versus Tennessee. He had 14 points, but still, man, Ty is no Odell. So Titans are a tough D, man, but I don't know. Would you start Ty? Would you start anyone?
I gotta
from
tell
Indy?
you, and I still say that Jacoby Brissett is not very good. I would definitely start Ty because I feel like you. I mean, what are you gonna do? Not even if you have really good wide receivers, you can not start him in your flex. I think you definitely have to fire him up. I just think he's boomer bust. So if you get 4 points, don't get mad.
Yeah.
John, what about Marlon Mack?
Marlon Mack, I wouldn't
like
start
this
him
song?
here. I would not start him here based on the fact that Tennessee is actually...
You know what this song is?
Yeah, Return of the Mack.
The Return of the Mack, man.
I think here is a perfect example of Tennessee is not rated high enough for the rush defense.
But if he gets 25 carries again, John.
I don't even care if it's 25 carries.
If Marlon Mack gets 25 carries again, it is the return of the Mack, bro.
All right. If Marlon
Tennessee finished 4th best against the run last year to running back for points.
Yeah, Tennessee's a dirty defense.
But come on, man.
I'm not buying
You
the
gotta
Return
get
of
in
the
the
Mack.
groove.
I love this song, but I can't get in the groove here.
I actually like Marlon Mack this week. Only because of this song.
All right.
I think if Indy wins this game, yes,
Where's the chorus?
I think they're gonna win this in the air.
They're no chorus.
I don't know,
Anyway,
man.
that was disappointing. But yeah, no, I wouldn't start Marlon Mack this week. I agree with you. That defense is a lot better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, it's their secondary that doesn't get enough credit. It's because that's where they get torched to give up one of the most points to wide receivers.
The problem is, though, and I think here's why I don't mind starting running backs against Tennessee, is because Tennessee's never going to be up big. So they're never going to be playing that far from behind where they have to abandon the run.
You don't have to ban the run here. But if for some reason their defense plays like it did last week, that could be concerning.
Yeah.
I would not start any tight end here. I would not start O'Doyle Rules. I would not start Ebron. A sneaky guy here in this matchup, it could be Paris Campbell with Funches out.
Ebron, don't forget, Ebron dropped a touchdown last week.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's not like, I think if you have Ebron, you're starting him at tight end.
But
I don't think you...
No, I don't...
I'd take... Listen, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to sound like an idiot, but I'd start Doyle over Ebron. Doyle played more snaps than Ebron, and Brissett just loves Doyle.
He does like Doyle. I agree with that one.
Doyle was hardly involved last week.
But do you really... Like, last year, Tennessee, every time you saw them play, they were in like a low-scoring slugfest. Their defense was amazing. This year, they come out, they kill the Browns. I mean... I can't feel confident about starting anyone from Indy.
No, I agree with you. I think Hilton and Mack are where you probably draw the line in the sand, and even those guys are risky plays. Paris Campbell could surprise us.
Or Deion Kane, too, possibly.
And come out of nowhere, but I'm fading those guys for the
I'm
most
not starting
part.
a tight end here, and I'll tell you this.
I'm definitely not. I'm probably not either.
The statistic, why?
I don't ever own
Tennessee
Ebron.
was the #1 defense against tight ends last year.
There you go.
So there you go. I'm not starting either one. O'Doyle does not rule.
Derrick Henry does though, John. Like why is it when Derrick Henry's not on your team, he's really, really good?
It's because I have these players. When I don't own them anymore, they go off. And it's just the way it is.
Dude, Derrick Henry, for the past like 4 or 5 games he's played, he's gone from like a, 1 game, explosion to like, oh, dude, this guy can be.
He needs the volume, though. Even though he did have his one catch he had went for 75 yards because he broke the play, I think he's a volume guy. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, though. It could surprise us. Corey Davis was a huge letdown last week. What do you guys think about him and A.J. Brown?
I like A.J. Brown more than Corey Davis just because, obviously Corey Davis didn't get many targets last week because he was covered by Denzel Ward.
Yep.
Denzel Ward's a sneaky, really good corner.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. It seemed Mariota loved A.J. Brown.
You know who Mariota loves?
Delaney.
Walker.
Oh.
That's a tight end in this game that I'm starting. I think you could safely start Walker and get pretty good results. Double digits, I think, in PPR every week is what you can expect.
Yep, that's where you can expose the Colts is at tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to go to the New England Penitentiary, guys?
Let's do it, baby.
All right.
I don't even like Drake. You don't like the Drake? I hate the Drake.
I love the Drake.
How could you not like the Drake? Who's the Drake?
Who's the Drake?
Drake is good.
The Drake is good. Is he good this week, John? He wasn't very good last week.
I don't think the Drake does anything here. I think this game is there's nobody on Miami that actually interests me. I'm not scared of this game.
This game's a trap game because everyone's going to rush to play all New England players because of Miami.
I'm not saying playing New England players. I actually like Miami a little bit. I think this game, it scares me because don't know the what ifs right now. The whole organization going on with the players requesting trades in this. Not to mention after what happened last week. The thing I do like that's sneaky about playing Dolphins this week is that the Patriots don't do well in Miami with the Heat.
Nope. So with the Miami Heat or the
Miami Heat.
So I love this. I'm hearing you guys say it's a trap.
It is.
Like who's the guy from Admiral Akbar from Star Wars?
It's a trap.
And I'm hearing John say, I kind of like some of the Miami Dolphins. So I'll be curious to see how many of their players you guys start this week.
I think I only have one. I think I have Balaj.
And this isn't a new thing with Miami stinking. They shouldn't even be in the league anymore. They're an embarrassment of an organization, much like the Jets, much like the Bills. This is going to be an evisceration of the Miami Dolphins. And this is, you start everybody. You start Sony Michel, you start James White, you start Josh Gordon. Even if he's not playing, you start Antonio Brown, you start Julian Edelman, you start Ben Watson, you start all these old Patriot names, Ben Coates. Go ahead and start.
Sam Gash coming out of retirement.
Yeah, go ahead and start Troy Brown. Start them all. Start Bill Belichick. Start whoever their defensive coordinator is. Start Bob Kraft. Just yank him out of that massage parlor and be like, you're in the game, kid. Start them all. Because Miami, if there was a Premier League in the NFL, they would not even be in the league anymore. And they've given up already. They're sucking for whoever the quarterback is next year. And they should probably be investigated for actually throwing games.
Oh, yeah.
Start them all.
And it's funny how we were just talking about bad coaches.
If you're in a defense league, start the Patriots defense. Start the special teams. Start the kicker. Start the punter. Start them all.
I think Brian Flores wasn't ready to be a coach.
He might put a helmet on. None of them are, Noah. No. You're seeing a pattern here.
Listen, but that's the thing. It was so hard.
Who's the kid that went to Denver that's their offensive coordinator now? McCown, whatever. Who's the guy, their offensive coordinator?
McDaniels is one of the best coordinators in the league.
He's one of the best coordinators, but he failed as a coach.
None of these guys are ready to be coaches.
Like, you come out of Bill Belichick's coaching tree and everyone's immediately compares you to Bill Belichick. They're like,
no, you just have to win, and they don't do that. And they're not going to do that this week either.
I think that, I don't.
Maybe start Ryan Fitzpatrick because he's going to be chucking it 5,000 yards down the field to try to catch up. But don't start anybody else. You
might as well start the backup, Josh Rosen, because this game's going to be over at halftime.
Let's move on to the Bills and G-Men. All right, Bills and Giants. I am definitely starting Josh Allen this week.
Yep.
Josh Allen had a bad week and in our league of record put up about 25 fantasy points. We do incentivize quarterbacks a little bit more. We do a point for every 20 passing yards instead of 25. And we do a point for every 10 completions. So a little bit more points to be had there, but I'll take 25 from my starting quarterback every day. And that was in a not-so-great matchup. C.J. Mosley was all over the place. The guy was out of control. This week they're playing the Giants, who are just bad. So I think Josh Allen's a good start. I don't know about you guys.
I like John Brown to go along with that.
John Brown was great. Yep. Ironically, I didn't see a lot of activity for him on the waiver wire this week. Maybe he was owned. I don't know. But John Brown definitely looks like the favorite receiver there. And if you watched the game last week, Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper torched this defense on long bombs, and that's what John Brown's all about. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you there, Noah.
Yeah, I think what's crazy, John Brown, 32% of target shares, highest in the NFL that week. You know, Josh Allen loves this guy, and which is crazy because John Brown's always been a solid.
He's a great receiver. Player. He's just never been healthy. No. This could be the Keenan Allen effect, like we talk about.
He had the whole sickle cell injury, or you know what I'm saying, the diagnosis there that kept him out for like 2 seasons.
So you're with us on Brown.
Oh, I'm definitely sold on Brown.
Brown's a great flex play. I think you're going to see the worm turn here toward Devin Singletary. Frank Gore was just atrocious. 20 yards on 11 carries, which, I mean, anybody in this room might be able to do. It was... And then you look at the Singletary side, 4 carries for 70 yards. So
I think he's
the guy.
You got to start him. He's the guy. Either it pops this week with Buffalo and they give him more carries, or they don't. But I still think he's still the guy.
Yeah.
And going against the Giants rushing D, that's awful.
Yeah,
awful.
And I just think Singletary complements Allen as well a lot better. Like you can't put Gore out there as with the most carries. Like, why would you do that?
I think they're trying to take
Gore has one honest use.
When Devin Singletary breaks a big run and he's blown up and he needs water, then Gore goes out.
Or the goal line with 1 yard. He's always done that. I'm just saying that's what Gore's known for, is vulturing.
So I think Singletary, wait and see. I wouldn't start him this week, but I think you're gonna see a hope if McDermott knows what he's doing. He must have seen, wow. Even when he watches the tape, it's like, okay, this kid's got the skills, and Gore is old busted.
I think by week 6 or 7, probably sooner. I think Singletary's going to be, the number 1, star rookie back in there.
I think you start Allen and Brown confidently in those games. I don't love this matchup for Eli. Not that anybody's starting him anyway. I think Evan Ingram, based on the volume it looks like he's getting, he had 14 targets in week 1. I think he's a must start. Shepard's in the concussion
protocol.
Saquon Barkley is just, what was his yards per carry? Double-digit yards per carry. It's just offensive to my sensibilities
you
that
have
you
to
can
start,
physically do that.
You have to start Barkley here.
Oh, yeah.
You have to start
dude.
Barkley every week.
You have to.
Barkley's amazing. Evan Ingram. Whoever the number one receiver that is, if Sterling Shepard is bad.
Let's
be honest.
I'm actually scared for Ingram here. I'm not going to lie.
He's not covered
Because
by Davius White the whole
No,
game.
but the Bills are decent against tight ends.
Yeah.
Terrell Edmonds is not a bad linebacker.
No.
Yeah. So
But I think you just, again, it's volume.
No, I'm saying volume, but I would say temper expectations down. He's not going to have the monster week he did. I could see 8 catches for 60 yards. He's still going to get you 15 points, I think. But I'm not expecting the target share like last week. I think this week, if they're smart, but I'm not a coach, I would force feed Saquon all day long based on that. Buffalo is awful against the run. They're actually good against the pass, but they're awful against the run. They're one of the bottom 10 defenses.
Quan's going to feast.
Yeah, he should feast.
Yeah.
I can honestly see him with catches and everything getting 25, 30 points.
You have Barkley, he could single-handedly win you your week.
Yeah.
I'm going to need him to make up points for Henry.
You might
He'll be fine. You'll have one of my tight ends.
Yeah, throw Barkley in there.
So let's move on to Seattle and Pittsburgh. Chris Carson, I think, is a must-start here. His efficiency isn't good. But he did have 71% of the carries. He led the team in targets as well, so they're committed to him. Tyler Lockett, you can start him in the flex and cross your fingers and pucker your rear end and hope that he gets big bombs on his 2 to 3 targets that he'll see. But DK Metcalf looked like the more go-to guy, yeah. So you guys starting Metcalf this week?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Pittsburgh did not look good. They did not look good at all. It's in Pittsburgh.
Let's be honest with Pittsburgh. They haven't had a good defense in how long?
They haven't been bad. I think it's tough because the Patriots always beat them. So it's I feel like they just give up before they even hit the field.
I think Hayden's gonna cover Metcalf. That would be my projection right now.
Yeah, because Lockett will work out of the slot.
Who did Hayden cover last week? Nobody knows that?
It doesn't matter because
it didn't
probably
matter.
Got torched.
I believe he came out hurt in that game after the first quarter.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of injuries on Pittsburgh. Yeah.
So I'm scared of the Steelers.
Hayden.
Not playing offensively, I'm saying, but Seattle scares me this week. Look what they did to the Patriots running game. Other than Burkhead, didn't even explode rushing wise. So it looks like they contain the run decently.
My point was that Hayden probably covered Gordon and Gordon kicked their rear end. So just throwing that out there.
So I think here I think Lockett, but he did not look good. The one target share scares me. I think
Metcalf, I never would have said this, but I think Metcalf might be the safer option here.
Yeah.
For the floor, yes.
Yeah.
For a floor.
Yeah. And maybe ceiling because he's a playmaker.
How do you think Wilson does here?
I think he's fine.
It's
20 to
Russell Wilson.
25, I think.
Carson.
The offensive line hinders his upside, though. It's
Carson
bad.
and Penny scare me here. That's
Do
what
they? See, I think Carson's getting the workload, but with Pete Carroll, you never know because he could just shift to Rashad Penny this week.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Seattle. They have a revolving door full of specialty players.
From the Steelers side,
Juju's a must start.
After what I saw last week, Juju,
if he's healthy, if he's out there.
James Washington
got the targets. He did.
Honestly, I really
Dante who?
Yeah,
I'm still not bought on that.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Me and you have been saying that since the first podcast.
I think the biggest talking piece. Go ahead, Noah. Sorry.
I really like the Steelers though. In this game,
I bet you do. They just let your team walk
Oh
all over
no,
them
I let
last
it.
week.
Thank you to the Pittsburgh Steelers for the week one
not caring.
entertainment. But no, Big Ben at home, first home game of the year. Game.
Did you see Ben's press conference after the game?
Oh, he was pissed.
They were like, "What do you think about Antonio Brown going to New England?" And he's like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Juju is going to be great this week. James Conner, I think, is the guy we need to talk about. He was a huge, it was a disappointing week for him. I was very disappointed. I know, John, you were as well.
Oh, yeah, very disappointed.
We expected more than 10 carries, 12 carries, something like that. It wasn't, no, he had 21 carries. I'm sorry.
And
So What was his yardage count? I don't have that here, John. Do you?
What, Connor?
Yeah.
I do not have it. You want me to pull it up real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Because I know he had 21 carries, but
he got shut down.
Didn't
the
go
whole
well.
game.
Didn't go well.
I mean, last week
It was negative game script too, though.
Pittsburgh period last week. I mean, week 1, we keep talking about it. Like, I don't know. I think you got to start him just because of what he did last year. And I mean, they're at home in Pittsburgh. Big Ben always, shows up in big games in Pittsburgh.
James Conner, 10 carry for
So-
21 yards.
Yeah.
And but he had 4 catches for 44
So it was
yards.
10 carries. Okay.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 10 carries for 21 yards and 4 catches for 44 yards
Okay.
on 4 targets. So he caught everything.
So that saved his. I don't know, saved his day, but it helped it. They do have a good front 7 too in Seattle, so he makes me nervous. I think the only guy in Pittsburgh I'm comfortably starting is Juju.
Like I said, I could start Big Ben.
John?
I like Juju this week. I actually do like Vance McDonald this week. I know he doesn't see the target shares, but I think there's a week they're going to pick on that linebacking core. The front 5 is what scares me the most, but I think Connor here, they're going to bounce back. I think Pittsburgh bounces back. I think Connor will get at least 15 this week. After that, I like Washington. I'm not sold on Moncrief, and the others, Grimble. I'm not. None of them are relevant. I think it's going to be honestly Juju, Washington, McDonald, and Connor show. I really do.
I don't see,
and Big Ben obviously.
I don't see McDonald just because Bobby Wagner, and Bobby Wagner's a monster, and when they play
Wagner
man,
covers the middle. McDonald does a lot of out patterns.
I know, but like when Seattle likes to play man, so when they're matched up, Bobby Wagner's one of the best.
I wouldn't start Vance McDonald. That's just my take.
No, I'm just saying.
Let's go to a fun team. Let's go. How about them Cowboys, guys?
Here we go.
Let's go to a fun team. They were really fun to watch last week. I don't care if you love them or hate them. If you love football and love fantasy, they were a fun team.
It's Kellen
to
Moore.
watch.
He's making them look
That
reborn
offense.
again.
Dak Prescott dissected New York. Just dissected them. 404 yards, 4 touchdowns. He only threw the ball 32 times, but he was clicking with Cooper. Michael Gallup looked great. Randall Cobb looked great. Jason Witten caught a touchdown. You get a
Everyone
touchdown.
looked
You get a
great.
touchdown. You get a touchdown. He was, like you said, John, the Oprah Winfrey of the NFL.
He
was
was.
handing out touchdowns to everybody. And then you look at it, last week, Washington was definitely susceptible to the deep ball, specifically with Deshaun Jackson. So I think expect a big game from Cooper. I don't know if you're starting Gallup yet.
I think
but
this is another spot. Gallup goes.
You think
Gallup's
so?
gonna have a good game. Yes.
I mean,
and Zeke, I think you're going to see more back to form in terms of his carries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a 13-13 split with Tony Pollard last week, but that's stupid.
I mean, it was his first.
That's just stupid.
What he returned to
But it's
practice
dumb.
like Friday or
It's
Saturday.
dumb.
So
It's really dumb.
I think Deke's not Deke.
Especially when you're up by that much. So you're not going to see that again this week. I think Zeke
Dak's
is,
fine here too.
Going, balls out. Can I say that?
I think he
Zeke's
just
going to
did.
ball out this week. So I think he will at least.
I hope people don't look too much into the whole. Washington was like up early on, Philly, and everyone's like,
and then
oh,
they just
Washington's
fell apart.
Yeah, like people seem to forget that. Like
Yeah.
it was a close one, but they scored almost all their points in the first half.
It's true. They definitely
And
did.
then the Eagles came out and just walked through. 'em.
Hold my beer.
It was a clinic from
Carson Wentz is like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
And he went out there and tore it up. So I think, but yeah, Gallup, maybe. John, you're more of an advocate for him starting on your fantasy roster this week. Definitely Cooper, definitely Dak, definitely Zeke. I think Witten is a good flyer if you're in need of a tight end, which you are, Noah.
So am I.
Without Hunter Henry. So
Jason
anyway.
Witten with his.
What about from the
82-year-old
Washington
self.
side?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think McLovin, based on his target share.
Don't be so disrespectful.
You pussy out or what? No.
Can we say that?
I don't know.
I don't want to play this full scene.
Why not? No.
All right, that's good. It's hard to trace, I guess. Wait, you changed your name to McLovin? McLovin? What kind of a stupid name is that, Fogel? What are you trying to be, an Irish R&B singer?
They let you pick any name you want when you get down there.
And you landed on McLovin.
I think we got to stop it there. So anyway, McLovin is a guy I'm definitely interested in starting this week, but I'm tempering my expectations as well. I don't want to go too nuts on that.
It's Washington.
Yes, it is Washington, but Dallas has been known to give up the big plays. Let's face it. They sometimes will let teams just go house on them on a random series, and McLaurin's the type of guy that can do that. So
McLaurin looked really good.
I think other than that, I'm not starting any Washington players. I'm really scared. This Dallas Cowboys defense is the real deal. They have gotten better every week. They have gotten better every preseason. They're amazing.
Caden's being disruptive.
Yeah.
Like Caden.
John's son is distracting us.
I really think.
Don't let it happen again.
I'm scared for Washington here. The Cowboys defense looks really solid this year. So other than McLaurin, I'm off everybody else. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
It just says McLovin, man.
McLovin. Start McLovin.
Chris
no
Thompson's
one else.
interesting though, and
He could be a good if you need a backup running back.
I think AP, as much as I hate him and he's a piece of garbage, it could be a sneaky start this week as well. Because like I said, Dallas is at times likes to give up the big play to the other team, and
Chris Thompson's due for a couple of screen
Chris Thompson,
passes.
yeah, I mean he got usage, man. So he had a team high 10 targets, and he played 64% of the snaps. So I think Chris Thompson is a guy that you might be able to start in your flex as well. Lamar Jackson. What do you think? Can he do it again? He's got the Cardinals, so I think it's a pretty good possibility, John.
After Stafford threw for the amount he did, I think this is another good chance.
Yeah, I would definitely start Lamar Jackson this week. I think
Lamar Jackson not even throwing this week. Arizona was not a good rush defense. I mean, they were decent last week, but they weren't great. They were decent. But the difference is, overall last year, they were one of the worst teams against the run. So Lamar Jackson's upside here is the running.
Yeah, he didn't run much last week. He only had 3 carries.
And this could be the week you see it, actually.
Yeah, he only had 3 carries, 6 yards. He completed 85% of his passes, though.
Baltimore can run the ball. Like last year, they were towards the bottom. Until Lamar Jackson took over, they were one of the worst rushing teams. Comes in, and they could rush the ball better than anybody.
Yeah.
And
Ingram looked great. I'd like to see more from Justice Hill this week. I think you might, but Ingram looks like he is dug in as the lead back right now. Just keep an eye on Justice Hill. I think you can safely start Ingram this week. Hollywood Brown was great, 4 for 147 and 2 touchdowns, but he only played 12 offensive snaps, John. I think a lot of people are missing that.
In 12 offensive snaps, he was targeted on 6.
Yeah.
So take that however you want, but still.
So is he going to be targeted 50% of his snaps? That'd be great if he played 20 snaps.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
It's a risk. It's a very risky play. It's a boomer bust.
I just be careful. That was a great week, and it was really fun to watch, but he might be a boomer bust guy.
Yeah. If he plays more than 12 snaps, he could be
but that's
really
why
good,
in this case you hold off for a couple more weeks and see what it translates into.
But all he needs is that one opportunity to break a play, and
sounds like Deshaun Jackson was his first couple years.
Yeah, so I mean, Brown's exciting, another good flex option. Mark Andrews, I think you can start him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 5th in receiving yards.
Who was right about Mark Andrews, by the way?
Lamar Jackson took over.
Was that me again?
Just saying.
Again.
Mark?
I'm getting tired of getting right,
I wasn't. I made some good calls, actually.
You had Hunter Renfrow. Oh, no, not him. You had Kirk Cousins. No, not Kirk Cousins. You had one guy.
Oh, that's how we're going to play it.
Who was? No, you had a really good one this past week. I can't remember.
I'm sorry,
who it
Michael
was.
Gallup did go
Gallup,
off.
yeah, that was the one that was really good. I will give you credit for that.
And one game can't decide Kirk Cousins. If it does, then you're done with Diggs.
I know. Jeez.
You better hope not.
Unless they make Diggs the quarterback, he could probably do a better
I just
job.
think, like I said, that game was scripted because they were up so much. So let's
hope
think
that doesn't
changes.
happen every week. But Baltimore, I think Hollywood, good flex option. Mark Ingram, must start. Lamar Jackson, I think, is a must start this week. Boykin could be an interesting start, but I don't think week 2 that you're looking
His
toward
target
him.
share is not there.
No, but it looks like they might target him in the red zone. But I mean, again, unless it's a really deep league, you're not really looking at him.
I could see this
Andrews is a start, I think, too.
I could see this game being like a 20-10 type game where maybe some points are scored early, then the defense is both kind of hunkered down.
I could see that end up happening.
I just don't think I think Miami last week was just so atrocious that this Baltimore offense can stall, and they did a lot last year.
But I think it's a different offense. I think they got pieces to match to be more compatible with Lamar Jackson this year.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think about Mr. I had an awful game but a really good fourth quarter, Kyler Murray? Did he just kind of figure it out? Or did he get lucky?
We don't know. That I don't know yet.
Someone needs to check his height. That dude is 5'5". You saw how tiny he looked. He looks like a creative player on Madden. Yeah. And you just throw him out there with 99 speed.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that's going to be here is Ravens are one of the top defenses. I don't know if they've ever faced a kind of offense like Cliff Kingsbury. He does. Right now, the Cardinals have the fastest paced offense in the league. I don't know how Baltimore is going to adjust to that pace. So this could be interesting, or it could be murder on the other hand.
Well,
I mean,
I'm leaning towards murder.
I think
in this hand.
Yeah, I think you could
we should
right.
be asking the question, like, or saying that Kyler Murray's never faced a defense like Baltimore's.
No, it's not so much here's the thing, but has Baltimore faced an offense like this, though, too?
That's true. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, what he was throwing at Detroit, I liked.
I mean, Kingsbury's first game, Noah, fastest paced offense in the league.
It was.
Listen,
Yeah.
So I don't know if Baltimore.
But they were trash for 3 quarters, so that and a dime might not buy you a cup of coffee.
But garbage
and
time.
They kissed their
But
sister
garbage
with a tie.
time could help stats again, though.
Yeah. So listen, David Johnson. I mean, last week he looked like the old David Johnson. I am a little nervous about this week going against the Ravens defense. And again, he did catch a pretty big pass for a touchdown that kind of really. I was watching him closely because you had him, John, and I mean, he wasn't great last week. But again, once the offense kicked into gear at the end of the game, he kicked into gear. But I'm a little nervous. I don't think you're going to get 25 points out of him this week.
No, I think you can get 15 out of him. Is a decent projection, I would say. The thing that helped his game last week is last year he didn't line up as a receiver as much. Actually, not barely at all. Last week looked like the old David Johnson, getting him in the space, getting him to line up as a receiver. And that's where David Johnson excels, is when he lines up as a receiver. And that's how they were using him last week, in space. So, like I said, I'm not expecting a 25, 30-point game from Johnson. If he does, great, but I don't expect it. I expect at least 15 from him based on targets and based on – I can see like 40 rushing yards, like 5 catches for honestly, 40 yards, 50 yards.
I'm not starting any of – I don't think any of the receivers here.
Yeah,
they all got heavily targeted.
Fitzgerald would be the one because of his target share.
He had 13 targets, but Christian Kirk had 12.
Yeah.
He was just not very efficient
with him. I don't like his efficiency.
Keyshawn Johnson garnered 10 targets as well, so
You can't
I just am not going to start any of them.
Yeah, you can't force me to play an Arizona wide receiver versus Baltimore defense.
Definitely
Can't
not.
do it.
All right, Jaguars Texans will be a Nick Foles-less Jaguars squad. Gunter Minshew will be out there. He looked great last week, guys. 22 for 25 with 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. Minshew has a great schedule this year. Not this week, though. Texans might be a tough draw, but they gave up a lot of points last week, so who knows?
But that's Drew Brees.
It is a divisional game, too.
It's a divisional game. I think you start Fournette. Hopefully they're figuring out that he is the straw that stirs the drink there. And actually, if you look at it, Houston gave up a ton of rushing yards last week, too. So they're not invincible against the run. So who are you guys starting on Jacksonville? I honestly think it's just
Fournette.
Fournette.
I think it's Fournette. Possibly D.D. Westbrook, and possibly DJ Chark.
I need to see more from Minshew before I Cashew.
Gunter.
Mr.
Cashew, I call him Cashew. Gardner
Mr.
Cashew.
Gunter Cashew.
My name is Gunter.
I
My name is Gunter.
I need to see more from him before I, decide to put in a Jacksonville wide receiver.
I know it was the Chiefs' defense, but he actually looked pretty proficient out there.
Oh yeah.
My name is Gunter.
But
I am so sexy.
I don't.
Look at my mustache.
I don't trust Jacksonville wide receivers. Whoever's throwing the ball to him. Like I started D.D. Westbrook a couple times last year. Burned me. Never pick him up again.
Yeah.
I just don't trust Jacksonville wide receivers.
And with Fournette, honestly, this week I think I'm starting Josh Jacobs over him. You know what I mean? So he's definitely a risky play this week, but he could do well. Deshaun Watson.
Easy.
I think you're starting him based on what you saw from Mahomes. Deshaun has the Kavorka too. Not as much Kavorka as Pat Mahomes, but he's still electric. He's a must start.
Will Fuller.
DeAndre Hopkins, a must start. I love Will Fuller.
Dude, he's one of the most dangerous deep threats in the game, dude.
Hopkins has a tough matchup with Ramsey, but I mean, I think if you're looking at how Sammy Watkins did last week and how Tyreek Hill was showing before he got hurt, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I don't even know if Ramsey wants to be there at this point.
I think the whole thing with AJ Bouye and Ramsey,
Bouye is good too, yeah.
I think they're just like, screw this at this point. You know, you lose Nick Foles. That team's just decimated. That defense didn't look that good. I know they're playing Mahomes, but that didn't look like that Jacksonville defense.
You're right.
That could punish you, man.
I think I would safely start Will Fuller because he kind of reminds me of the Sammy Watkins type of guy, and Sammy Watkins just torched these guys last week. What about the running backs, John? Duke Johnson, Carlos Hyde.
I'm going to stay away from on this. I mean, it's still Jacksonville. You got to still respect that defense. If anything, Duke Johnson would have the value more than Hyde just based on his pass, pass targets he can catch. But from what I saw last week, it's a split backfield basically. It's like 55-45, so I'm going to stay away from both of them, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Damian Williams did have a good game last week, but
you know what you just did there, Noah? You just segued us to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders.
Oh wow, what a game!
No Tyreek Hill. Starting Sammy Watkins. That's for darn sure. Mecole Hardman's interesting. Travis Kelce, you're definitely starting him. I think it's safe to say. And you're starting Pat Mahomes. Are you starting? I guess the question lies in: are you starting Damian Williams or LaShawn McCoy?
Damian Williams.
Are you starting either of them? I
mean, LaShawn McCoy can,
I think you start McCoy, but I'd be scared here a little bit though too. This is a divisional rivalry game, so it could be closer. I'm not saying close, but I think they'll play them a little tougher than they usually do. But Chiefs will still dominate this game. But I think if you're gonna play one,
I'd say Williams just because of the pass.
Yeah, McCoy's just the straight. If you're playing a standard league, McCoy possibly with a touchdown, but Williams has the higher upside with target shares.
McCoy could have those 50-yard, no TD, no catch games.
Yeah, watch this be the game that McCoy gets like 7 targets or something crazy.
Watch McCoy establish himself as the number 1 running back and make me feel stupid for not drafting him.
I think you typically see Andy Reid stick to game plans. He doesn't really, I guess in terms of approach, but I think I would start Williams a little bit over McCoy this week, but you could probably start them both because, I don't know, Oakland has a swag this year, though. They showed a swag on Monday. I think Derek Carr's I think you definitely start him this week. He looked great week 1. And
Say that again, please.
I definitely think you start Derek Carr. Absolutely.
Can you please read what you wrote on that board when I drafted Derek Carr as my backup QB?
Well, just because you can start him 1 week doesn't mean...
Still a victory.
I think I wrote he's really good. Yeah. But no, I would definitely start Derek Carr this week. Darren Waller, John, looks like a guy that they're committed to over there. Tyrell Williams, Josh Jacobs. Who are you starting out of all these guys? I think you start all of them.
I think you can too.
I think you start Waller, Jacobs. I think you can't really go wrong with anyone in this matchup because I think both the defenses are so shaky.
Yeah.
I'd be careful buying in. I know I just gave you crap for calling Carr bad, but I mean I'd be a little hesitant on Carr.
Derek Carr.
Wow.
Jacobs, I'm comfortable with this week. I know Kansas City looked pretty good against the run last week, but again, Doug Moron doesn't know what he's doing, and you look at Chucky is we're gonna just keep Jacobs involved, and because he's gonna give him the workload, I think you're gonna see a good week out of him. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to the Bears and the Bronx. This is probably going to be a really low-scoring game, would be my guess. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, don't start anyone on Denver. Just don't.
Yeah, I think that you could go every week and say don't start anyone on Denver. Although Emmanuel Sanders looked good last week, John, and so did Cortland Sutton. So, I mean, those guys definitely...
It's hard here. The Bears are still... You got to respect their defense. I know Green Bay still got away with them, but Joe Flacco ain't no Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I don't know. They didn't look too different this past week.
Yeah, right.
Rodgers got better skill set, so I just think I'm not sold on any Bronco here.
I'm not starting any of them this week. Really tough matchup for them.
And Bears are a little scary based on the fact that Raiders, the Bears. This is actually a decent matchup for Trubisky because Broncos got exposed by Carr. I think Trubisky has a good chance to have a decent game.
But Trubisky got exposed by Green Bay. So is it, the chicken or the egg, I guess. I'm not starting Trubisky. I just can't do it. Until he has a really sweet matchup, I wouldn't put him in. Allen Robinson could be okay. He definitely had a good game last week.
I'm starting Tariq Cohen this week.
I think you could start Cohen. I don't like this game or this matchup. I think I'm not starting anybody on either of these teams with confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only starting Tariq Cohen because he's a good flex play, but yeah, this matchup's ugly, man.
All right, let's move on to the Saints and the Rams.
Saints and Rams. I think this game's going to be higher scoring than we think. So I think this, like I said, I think this game will be higher scoring than we think. I just think both defenses are not solid, and
Can I just make this one easy and say start them all?
Okay, it
and
works.
Move on. All right, start them all, guys.
Eagles, Falcons.
Start them all. I would almost start them all here too, guys. I think Carson Wentz is gonna have a big game. Deshaun Jackson. Another game where I think you can start everybody comfortably outside of maybe the running backs, Sanders and Howard specifically in Philly, and I'm a little nervous about Freeman as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think this is more a passing game or passing players game. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if Eagles D shows up, it's going to be another, Atlanta versus Minnesota all over again. It's just going to be a slaughter. I mean,
it's projected as one of the highest games at 51 points. So wait and see.
Yeah,
I think it's like I said, a pass fest.
I think you start all the passing.
So the last and
options
final
here.
game, Browns and Jets.
Oh.
Projected over to under of 45.5.
Another tough matchup, I think, for Baker Mayfield. I'm not starting him if I can avoid it, honestly.
Jets secondary is decent.
Yeah,
It's decent. It's not bad. So
they weren't great last year.
I think you got to start Odell based on targets. Landry, I think. I mean, he's always been has had a high target share. I think he's got a decent floor of 10 at least, or 12.
Yep. He's safe.
I like Chubb here.
Yeah, I definitely
do like
too.
Chubb.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm not sold on any other Brown. What about from the Jets side?
You're starting Bell. I think you're starting Crowder.
You gotta start Crowder.
Robbie Anderson, he lines up against Tramon Williams. So I think he's got a good matchup this week. You're not going to see a lot of those this year because he does face a lot of good number one corners. So I think you start Robbie Anderson with confidence this week too. Does that mean you start Sam Darnold if I'm saying Crowder and Anderson? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, Tim.
I still think Browns D is pretty good. I think just last week, a couple big plays happened at the end when Baker threw a couple picks. But
this game's in New York, so that gives them a little bit of advantage too. But yeah, I would start Chubb. I would start Beckham. I would start Landry. I'm a little nervous about Mayfield. I think the receivers in PPR give you enough of a baseline in terms of how many passes they'll catch. And I would start Bell, Crowder, Anderson on the Jets side of the ball. Are we good?
We're good. So
went a little longer than we wanted to on this one, but
there we go, guys. I guess wait and see if our predictions are right. And I'm still sticking by Michael Gallup this week again.
All right. Sounds good to me, man. And Noah,
So-
thanks for joining us. Hopefully Noah can be our Thursday show guy. And we also have our film team, Caden and Andrew. So Caden's going to show his face. Yep.
it's funny because Andrew's actually my tag partner. We're
Yes,
going to win the championship.
And you're not, but Andrew is the brains of the operation, clearly. In that
We might have won
situation.
by luck week 1, Noah, but we still beat you.
That was great. Lamar, yeah.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you next week. And
See you soon.
hopefully you have a fun week of football.
Peace out, everybody.
Thank you for
See ya.
listening to the ArmChair Fantasy Football Podcast. Thanks for supporting the show. Until next time.